Casey's biggest hits.
5 years ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was If I Could Turn Back Time by one of the most versatile talents around today, a recording superstar who's had a successful TV and movie career. Even her infomercial is a huge success. I'll have details and that big hit after this.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Mark Elliott, sitting in for the vacationing Casey Kasem on Casey's Top 40. Now, we're up to our story about a sexy Academy Award-winning actress who says looking bad was the most liberating thing that's ever happened to her. Of course, you don't usually think of Cher as looking bad. In fact, she's as renowned for her great beauty as she is for the revealing and outlandish outfits she sometimes wears. But Cher admits to sometimes being a little self-conscious about her appearance. She says, quote, "If I look in the mirror, I see so many different people, and none of them are people I find attractive." Cher says an experience in one of her first movies is what helped her to stop worrying so much about her looks. The movie was Silkwood with Meryl Streep and Kurt Russell, and the script called for Cher to look drab and unattractive. She says, quote, "At first it killed me. The worse I looked, the better everybody thought it was." When somebody on the set made a remark about her appearance, Cher says she went to the bathroom, looked at herself in the mirror, and just broke down crying. But after her tears dried, Cher says she noticed something. It felt good not to have to worry about her looks. After a while, she says, it was like being 12 years old. I had the best time not having to be cute or sexy. And that's why Cher calls being in Silkwood, quote, the most liberating experience I've ever had. This week, the liberated Cher jumps up 6 notches in our survey to number 21 with her latest single, If I Could Turn Back Time.
Casey's Top 40.
I'm Casey Kasem, counting them down on Casey's Top 40. Now, here's a woman who started recording under the names Bonnie Jo Mason and then Cherilyn. But it wasn't until she shortened it to Cher that she hit the charts. And since then, she's had 16 Top 40 solo hits.
Number 27.
Rising 4 notches is a true show business legend. She first hit the charts back in 1965 with her then-husband, Sonny Bono, singing flower power classics like I Got You, Babe, and The Beat Goes On. As a solo artist, she hit the top 10 with smashes like Half Breed and If I Could Turn Back Time. And she also won an Academy Award for Moonstruck. Here's Cher.
Number 24.
Moving up a notch is Cher. She's a singer and an actress and now a movie producer. Cher has set up her own production company called Isis Films. And she has 2 movies on the drawing board, including one about legendary stripper Gypsy Rose Lee. Cher's still doing a lot of singing, too. And here she is with her latest, Save Up All Your Tears.
Casey's biggest hits.
5 years ago this week, one of the biggest hits in the USA was by one of the most versatile talents around today, a recording superstar who's had a successful TV and movie career. Even her infomercial is a huge success. In fact, it seems as if there's nothing this woman doesn't succeed at. Back in the 70s, her TV variety show was one of the top programs year after year. In the 80s, she dazzled us with her performances in movies like Mask, Silkwood, and Moonstruck. And in the 90s, she's earned millions of dollars thanks to the success of her infomercial. But in the midst of all that, she's never stopped singing, coming up with songs like one of the biggest hits in the USA 5 years ago this week.
If I could turn back time. Casey's Coast to Coast.
We're on our way to the number 1 song in the USA. Tumbling 5 notches to number 18 is Cher, who just had a birthday. The 53-year-old superstar refuses to let her age dictate her career moves. She says, you don't get out of the business just because you've had a certain birthday, and now it's time to sit on the couch, put on your scruffies, and put your feet up? Still nowhere near retirement, here's Cher with Believe.
Casey's Coast to Coast.
These are the week's hottest hits by the hottest stars of today. Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 extra by Red Hot Chili Peppers, a band whose lead singer recently published his autobiography. Anthony writes about life with his drug dealer father, who wanted to name him Clark Gable Kiedis. He writes about having a babysitter named Cher, the same Cher who went on to fame as a singer and actress.
The hits from coast to coast.
You're hearing the 20 hottest hits in the 50 states. Well, now we're up to an American Top 20 extra by Cher, a superstar who used to be in a duo called Caesar and Cleo. Now, more than 40 years later, Cleo's going to be the headliner at Caesar's Palace. It was back in 2003 that Celine Dion debuted at Caesar's Palace in a 4,100-seat theater that was built for $95 million. And in the years since, virtually every show has been sold out. But Celine is coming to the end of her run. She says it's time to move into the next phase of her career. And so Caesar's Palace has announced that when Celine's contract expires, the theater will shut down for reconstruction. Reconstruction to make it a perfect space for the 2008 opening of Cher. Now, with an extra, here's Cher warming up for her return with a smash from 1999, Believe.
Do you believe in life after love?
With an extra on AT20, that's Cher with Believe. I'm Kasem. Now on with a survey.
Counting down the hits with Kasem.